What up, people? There's a lot of breaking news at the moment. Noni Madueke to Arsenal. It looks like that story is gaining a bit of traction, and it looks like that's going to happen very soon. So watch this space. I think all the reputable news outlets are reporting that Arsenal have made a bid in the region of £50 million for Noni Madueke, and all the signs are that we're probably going to get him. So if you want to talk about the subject, if you're interested in the presentation, feel free to dial in. Let me just adjust this hat, man. I don't know why the hat is looking a bit breezy. But yeah, Noni Madueke to Arsenal. Story's on. Looks like it's going to happen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and show a few stories. So let's go Noni Madueke to Arsenal. Let's see what the what the story brings. So this is just a quick search. Noni Madueke to Arsenal. We have a BBC News story here that says Arsenal make formal approach to winger Madueke. Arsenal made formal contact with Chelsea over signing winger Noni Madueke. BBC reported that the Gunners had already agreed personal terms with Madueke last week ahead of any potential move, but they have now made an official approach. It is understood that Chelsea are looking for a fee in the region of 50 million for a 23-year-old international. I mean, look, my view of Madueke, and let's go on and have a look at his profile. You know, let's see what Noni Madueke highlights. So, I mean, generally, he seems like a very good young player. A lot of Arsenal fans don't seem too keen on him. So I'm going to play some of the highlights on YouTube, fair use, just to make sure that we're on the we're all on the same page. So here's some highlights on Madueke, and this is on YouTube. Okay, skip. Okay, skip ad. Don't know why this is crashing. Far away, I just want to leave this sunken place. They say the turtle wins the race. Hey, cause I think the hair might need a chance. And under the sun, I want to dance. Feeling the sand between my hands. Picked up my clothes and I packed on my bag. Hopped in that cab, all I know in the past. Just want to know what your freedom is like. Cause this life I've been living. Okay, so I think one thing to recognize is that he's Madueke is very direct, likes to take players on, and he has good potential in him. Now, whether he is what Arsenal need, I don't know. I mean, for the price that people are talking about, it seems quite a lot of money, £50 million. There is also, other areas that Arsenal need that we haven't necessarily addressed. So I can understand why Arsenal fans are a bit apprehensive about him. Let's see what other news outlets are saying. So this is from Twitter. So let's see. I understand Arsenal have already submitted an offer to Noni Madueke, 23-year-old winger, could leave Chelsea in summer. Talks have started. So the stories look credible that Arsenal are seriously looking to sign him. And one thing to recognize as well is that personal terms have already been agreed. So it's quite funny these days when you look at the way transfers are done, in that the buying club enters into negotiations with the player, they agree personal terms, agree contractual terms, and then they approach the club and agree a fee. In the past, in my days of growing up, as a young football fan, and having witnessed quite a few transfers, what tends to happen is that the club would a club would approach the selling club to say, we want to buy this player. They typically negotiate a fee, and then after that, they negotiate with the player. So things seem to have changed quite a lot over the years. Either way, there used to be a lot of stories about tapping up players. You've tapped up a player without the consent of their parent club. So now it seems to be a club will get in touch with player. Look, you say, we're interested in buying your player. Would you be interested in selling? And the club will say, well, we would be subject. Go and speak to him, agree personal terms, etc., and then come and talk to us about the fee. So it looks like that's what Arsenal are. That's how Arsenal are moving in the market. In that we negotiate person, we get in touch with player, we convince them to join the club. Personal terms are agreed, and if it's within Arsenal's affordability criteria, we then move on to negotiate with the club. And that seems to be the way this has gone. Now, it, is he the player that we need? Is it, looking at Arsenal's front line, the moment we've got Saka on the right wing, and you could argue that Waneri is the obvious deputy, although I think he's not quite there yet. And then on the left, you've got Martinelli and Trossard. I quite like Trossard. I think Trossard has got the surprise factor. He can, when games are deadlocked, he seems to have that magic one and come in and do something special. Whereas Martinelli is a bit more of a runner, hard worker. He puts in a shift, occasionally scores goals. I think what Arteta is looking for is a balance between the two. Someone who is adventurous like Martinelli, but scores a lot of goals. So, and I think the thing about Madueke is that he could play on the left and the right as well. So he's quite versatile, and so he could come in and deputise for Saka, whilst also being capable of playing on the right. So things are shaping up quite nicely. I'm not sure that Madueke is worth £50 million, or what price is currently being mentioned, but I think he would be a good addition to Arsenal. I'm not sure why there's so much negative reaction to his potential transfer. Arsenal linked in talks with Chelsea over 55 million rated Madueke. So yeah, Madueke reminds me a bit about he plays for Fulham now. What's his name? Iwobi, when Emery sold him to Everton for about 35 million. Kind of young, up and coming player, very creative, very intelligent, but wasn't delivering at the level we need. So we sold him to Everton. Everton eventually sold him to Fulham, and I quite like Iwobi. I think he's had a very good career. He's definitely very versatile. He can play across the front three. He's intelligent in his movements, and occasionally chips in with a few goals. So I consider Madueke quite similar to Iwobi in terms of age and potential. So if you were to add inflation, considering the money we sold Iwobi for a couple of years ago, around 2019, I think, or 2020, one of those years, to Everton, then you could say 50 million for Madueke seems a fair estimate, adding inflation and considering what we sold Iwobi for. Iwobi was sold for about 35 million 5 years ago. So Madueke is right about that figure. So, and likely that money would be paid in 3 installments. So potentially 15 million a year. I think it's certainly affordable for Arsenal. And then, if the rumors are to be believed, or the reports are to be believed, Gyökeres is another one who's on the radar. So Arsenal, things are shaping up quite nicely at Arsenal, I must admit. So we are Arsenal talks with Chelsea over 55 million rated Madueke. North London club understood to have already agreed terms with the England winger currently at the Club World Cup. So, yeah, I think this is shaping up quite nicely. If we buy him, I would welcome him with open arms. Let's look at a few videos online in terms of what people are saying about him. I think there are a few online reaction videos where people probably not too keen about Noni Madueke to Arsenal. Let's see what people are saying. Okay. So give it a minute. We'll go to DR Sports.
Next, and of course,
need another needle mover.
As we said, and what you just said
And
there,
and
this guy got
It's
his
not his
17 says, Noni, big ego, can't back it up on the pitch either, right? And a lot, again, going back to my Wimbledon stuff yesterday when I was there, a lot of Chelsea fans kept coming up to me and saying, what about Madueke, Robbie? And they always had this big cheeky grin on their face. I'm not with this transfer at all. And funny is that on my Transfer Daily show the other day, I did a poll. This is before it looked like we were going to get him. Asking, would you have him at Arsenal? And 83% said no. 83%.
That's crazy.
I've done another poll again today for it on the show that I did this morning. It'll be interesting to see if that's changed a bit. But I'd say I can't find an Arsenal fan that wants Madueke. And I don't think he's a bad player. I think, I saw him playing for the England the other day. He was their best player. And he's always got great... Remember a couple of seasons ago when we played you?
Yeah.
He was the best player. Like
he was in his first few months.
He was really, really good. But he's inconsistent. You're saying to me he can't play on the left.
Well, he can.
He started to a lot now, isn't it?
But he hasn't.
I don't get it. I don't understand it from Arsenal's point of view. Or why we would be going for it.
The whole thing with him is that if he's going to excel and kick on, which is what he needs to do, because he's inconsistent, he doesn't score enough goals. The assists, I'd put an asterisk because all of our finishing has been so poor for all of our front line that no one is getting the assists that they should be getting. But he's a dribbler, he'll run to the byline and cut back, he'll cut in and take the shots, but he's not consistent and he's not someone that I'm not afraid of losing him,
Yeah, this is what I was saying, that one thing when you consider young players like Madueke is, and he's right, he's very inconsistent, it's a bit up and down, and it's quite telling what he said there, that he's not afraid to lose him. And I think that's quite telling. If we are going to buy Madueke, we need to see a higher level than what he's displayed at Chelsea. So
you just make sure you upgrade on him and make sure you improve the team. And we'll be making a bit of a profit on whatever we paid. We paid like 29 million for him. So you go and pay more than that. Yeah, more than but if you're going to pay, you're going to pay.
How much did you pay for him?
29 million. So I'm looking for minimum 50.
Going to be 50.
No. Well, I see that Chelsea. I see that Chelsea want 50.
Of course they do.
You know what, right?
This is why the model works.
Even some add-ons.
So this even makes more sense, because going back to the Iwobi transfer, like I said, Madueke is quite similar to Iwobi in terms of age and potential when we sold him to Everton. We got 35 million for Iwobi, and he was a academy player. So if Chelsea paid nearly 30 million for him, and we are paying in the region of 55 million for him, the cumulative gain for Chelsea is effectively 25 million, which I don't think is a bad deal financially for Arsenal or Chelsea for that matter. But
this is why we can't laugh at these, man.
We're doing
Fleece FC. Fleece FC, not the one you put on as well. It's Fleece FC, bro.
Yeah, the other thing
all the time.
But
the
if
other thing I see, right, was really cheeky by Chelsea, right?
Always.
Always got to give them respect. Because they asked for Wanyeri as part of the deal as well. Arsenal said to them, "You must be joking."
Yeah,
then they asked about
that was fake.
They asked about Max Dowman as well.
Apparently that was fake.
Arsenal said, "Are you mad?" Max Dowman as well.
Wanyeri's not agreed a new contract, so let's just.
Well, he's got a long-term contract already. He's just not agreed to the new one with like the wages that they're still. But honestly, to me, it will be a very unpopular deal for Arsenal. To me, I said anything over 30 million.
I think paying more than that.
And if you pay 29 for him, you're not going to sell him for.
Nah.
Apparently, Chelsea want 50 million. To me, I do not understand.
England international. Saka was out. Saka was out. You need competition. Off that right.
The Wanyeri can play it.
Well, Wanyeri, they're saying he's better centrally, Robbie.
No, well, listen.
They're saying he's better centrally.
Bro,
that's what the streets are saying.
Well, the streets are saying, man, you could put Kivior there. I don't. Listen, I don't. Anyway, listen, I don't. If it's more than 30 million, no.
It's more than 30. You've seen the first bid. They want to pay 40. Your own club.
You know the thing is about it, right?
We said 50. We're going to meet somewhere in the middle.
I'm like,
I'm telling you now, there's some add-ons as well.
My sort of thing is like, do I trust our board here? Because when we bought Raya, right, this was the same thing. All of us was losing it and saying, what is this? We've got our Ramsdale. We love Ramsdale. He's playing well. He's not really let us. Why?
Already agreed personal terms.
And then when Raya came in, right, and fans were just there like this. When he first came in, you could almost like you're in a game. You could almost see like fans are like, right, over to you, brother.
Yeah, but different.
You
know why it's different? Because
you know what they're like.
There's no way.
Chelsea, though,
there's no way of him dislodging Saka. So he has to play on his weaker side to get in the team.
But I'm saying with Raya, they're scrutinising him hard. And then you know what fans like after like say 4 or 5 games, right? It's like, okay, no, you get a fan.
Yeah, he's all right, you know.
Well, he's all right.
Until he gets a guarantee. If he sees Noni come through with the Gucci bandana,
is this another Guendouzi situation?
The rumours are that he wants to stay. Arsenal want to keep him, and but I know it needs to be sorted out.
You know, Gregory Isaacs, rumours them spreading. Yeah,
the rumours are that he wants to stay.
If he sees Noni come through with the Gucci bandana,
is this another? Where did he go?
Very limited minutes.
Is that another? His contract expires in 2026.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
1 year left.
Got a long time. He ain't. He can start talking clubs from
January.
Didn't see him
at the back end of last season, did we? Where did he go?
Very limited minutes.
Is that another?
And he won't sign the thing until he gets his guarantee. If he sees Noni come through with the Gucci bandana,
is this another Guendouzi situation?
The rumours are that he wants to stay. Arsenal want to keep him, and but I know it needs to be sorted out.
You know, Gregory Isaacs, rumours them spreading. Yeah, rumours them spreading.
You know what? The thing is about it, right, is that these men, they started off the window, right, and everyone was very annoyed, right. January, people are annoyed. The last couple days, man, like people have been a lot of positives with the Gyökeres,
Yeah, okay. So it seems like there's quite a few things to unpick here. Is you've got Wanyeri whose contract expires next year in 2026, and Arsenal trying to renew his contract. He's a young, talented player who's had very limited game time. But also another thing to look at is the under-21 championships. Wanyeri very rarely got any minutes for England. He came on sometimes in added time, etc. So he wasn't even amongst his peers in the competition that you'd expect him to start. That's the Euros under-21 championships for England. Wanyeri does not start. So how could you expect to start for Arsenal? That's the question I'd asked. So, but he'd be foolish to leave Arsenal and go to another club, because I think Arsenal's best place for him. I think Arteta is looking for more fitness from him, more endeavour. I think when I've watched Wanyeri for Arsenal, he's blown a bit hot and cold. He's obviously technically gifted, but you have to read the detail. Look at the details. I always say with fans, don't get taken in by all the skills and the goals, etc. Look at what he's doing off the ball. Look at his movement, how much involved he is in the play. And I think his stamina is something that he could work on a little bit so that he can be more engaged. I can't remember what team we're playing. I think it was against Bournemouth towards the end of last season, where Odegaard had the ball, was looking for a run, and Waneri just didn't make the run. So, yeah, he's a young, talented player. He has to be patient and bide his time. It is true, if we buy Madueke, his playing minutes might be limited. But I think the way Arsenal are moving at the moment, we're looking at two competent players in each position. So the left, the right, and the centre. And the moment, Odegaard, I think, is another one where we haven't really got a capable deputy who can come in and give us something different. Again, there's mention of Eze of Crystal Palace potentially coming in. So if we do buy Eze, and we buy Madueke and we buy Gyökeres, that's the front three covered in terms of the number 10 position and the right and the left wing covered. So Waneri's minutes are going to be quite limited, but it's a very long season. I always say, one thing fans got to understand is don't get distracted by the fact that we buy a player. It means, player B's got to leave, or we need to sell this player to buy this player. If we buy this player, I'm happy for this player to go. As we found out last season, it's a very long, treacherous, tough season. You're going to pick up injuries, you're going to pick up suspensions and personal problems. So you need a big squad to compete. I mean, towards the end of last season, Arsenal effectively ran out of players. And you would have thought that at the start of the season, we had a relatively big squad. We had a mounting injury list, punishing fixture schedule. It got to the point where we couldn't survive. Look at City as well. City with their big squad. The moment you start picking up key injuries, it starts to have a knock-on effect on the rest of the squad. So I think Waneri should stick around. Definitely, he is going to get game time. I wouldn't be rushing to leave Arsenal yet. It's an 8-9 month season, plenty of games. Players who you think, are bench warmers towards the end of last season were pretty much a mainstay in the team. So I think Arsenal, for me, it's truly make or break for Arsenal next season if we are going to win the league. And number one is we need a big squad. We need competent backups in every position. And we need to arrive at the business end of the season. I'm talking about March, April, with a strong squad. It's not really the squad you start with. It's the squad you have towards the business end of the season. And that's quite important. So it's incumbent on Arteta to really rotate the team effectively so that we can arrive in March, April with a strong team. Let's see what the rest of this panel is saying, and then maybe we'll switch
with Zubimendi. Don't ruin it now. This is not necessary. We don't need Madueke. I don't understand it. Madueke will only be a good deal if they still go and get Eze or Rodrigo. If it's that,
what happened?
Then we'd be like, all right,
if you get big not, man, I said even before the Gyökeres thing happened, I was like, when I was shocked to hear that, like, he said yes to Arteta's project. This is advanced. In terms of the Arteta thing, Arsenal, do they want him? Maybe that. No. They've gone to Noni Madueke.
Yes.
Sold him the project.
Yes.
What his squad role will be and whatever.
He's making 50K now. He'll make 100
or whatever.
20, 30.
Madueke has said yes. Yeah, we know this. This is fact. So the only way that this can be good for Arsenal, because there's not many ways, is exactly what you said, Robbie. If you bring Arsenal fans Gyökeres, Rodrigo, Eze, and then you go, and we got Madueke for some depth, man, just in case you need him and that. If you got that type of cash, you know the finance is better than me. If you got that in the locker,
everybody knows that ain't happening.
Then fine. But we all know it's not going to be that. So if you're telling me that Arsenal, I look at Martinelli and I look at Madueke, and I'm like,
Martinelli's better.
Much of a muchness, and I was saying, Martinelli's. Yeah, I agree. Martinelli's ahead of him.
Yeah.
If you can get big money for Martinelli, which is cool, then.
I don't know about that, man. These guys sometimes talk so much crap. I mean, comparing Martinelli to Madueke is like comparing apples and oranges. First of all, Madueke is a left footer, and he seems to thrive a lot more centrally. And when you watch his play, he's someone who likes to take his pros a lot more centrally, likes to carry the ball into more central areas and takes players on. Whereas Martinelli, I think, is maybe it's by design the way these players have been told to play. But Martinelli is more of a line hogger. He likes to play on the line and out wide and likes to stretch. So I don't think they're the same players. And whether Martinelli is a better player is neither here or there. I think both players don't score enough goals. So I don't know. Let's try another reaction video from these guys to see what these people are saying.
But what have you just found? Is it something to do with Madueke, is it? Oh dear, Robbie. Some breaking news that I can reveal to you right now, and we'll come back to previewing this England game. Exclusive from Fabrizio Romano. Arsenal have submitted the initial bid for Noni Madueke.
How much?
£50 million package with add-ons included. Chelsea, though, they want more than 50 million fixed, as Elanga/similar deals remain their reference. Good relationship, as we know. Very good relationship between the clubs. As talks continue, Madueke has agreed terms with Arsenal.
Really interesting.
It's
And
only
on a table full of Arsenal fans,
Yes.
and a room full of Arsenal fans, you're all shaking your head.
I'm not shaking my head. I'm not shaking my head.
I'm
not shaking my head.
Looking, crestfallen.
Well, I'm not crestfallen, but put it this way, I'm not going to pretend for 1 second that I'm excited. In fact, listen, now, come on.
Come on. Come on.
I think I speak for the vast majority of Arsenal fans, certainly the ones I've spoken to, certainly the ones I've seen online. No one was asking for this. What I would say is that it's now looking likely that it's going to happen. So we might have to sort of temper our previous criticisms. I mean, I've always said that he's a good player. The problem I had with that potential signing is that the signings are so crucial this time around because we're pushing on major honours.
Hopefully.
And I've got to be honest, I don't see Madueke as lifting Arsenal to that next level.
I'm with Laurie. I think the thing for me is I think I speak for most Arsenal fans when I say that I want to see deals like Gyökeres and potentially Eze over the line before, or Rodrigo, before I see Madueke.
I mean, come on. Where is your bloody brain? How on earth can any sensible football fan with half a brain come up with this statement that I want to see Rodrigo and Eze over the line before Noni Madueke? Transfers don't work like that in real life. We know Rodrigo is in the World Cup, in the Club World Cup, and there are still debates around whether he might want to leave or not, or whether Arsenal, or whether he might be open to whether Real Madrid might be open to selling him before we even enter into negotiations. So what she's saying here is I would rather see Rodrigo and Eze over the line for Madueke. Well, the situation is not feasible because Rodrigo is currently engaged in a competition. It's not clear whether the parent club wants to sell him. Are you saying that Arsenal should wait until we have visibility and clarity on Rodrigo and then try and negotiate before we even look at Madueke? No, absolutely not. This is why I say most football fans are stupid and have no critical thinking skills. The fact of the matter is, Arsenal have a budget. We have a budget. We have a set of targets. It may well be that we're looking to bring in a right winger, a left winger, a number 10, and a striker. 4 players, right? So, and then we have a set budget. We've set a budget to acquire those players. So pursuing Madueke, whether you like him or not, is completely independent of the other targets. As long as you have the budget for it, you pursue it. Just think about your shopping, right? When you go shopping, you have a critical set of items, important items that you want to purchase. And there are items that are nice to have. So you have a full budget. You don't say, oh, you know what? I'm going to go out. I'm going to go and look for the most important things first when you're shopping before I look at the things that I don't necessarily need. No, you have a budget. So you enter the shop. You see, oh, I have a budget for this. I don't necessarily need it, but the budget's there. You grab it. That's the same principle that applies to football transfers. So sometimes I listen to football fans and I really struggle to find common ground with some of the nonsense that comes up. Anyway, let's listen to what she has to say.
Over the line, because it's making me nervous seeing Arsenal going so all in for Madueke why are we not doing that for Eze first, who I think is a better player and who I think most Arsenal fans would take or would like more than Madueke. I hope that Arsenal just don't overpay for Madueke. That's the big thing. I don't really know what the 50 million package is.
Arteta sees in him that goes, right, he's the man we need to go out and win this title? Because that is the goal, isn't it? There's no let's finish second again. It's like the signings, like Laurie said, this season are geared towards Arsenal winning the league next season.
Yeah.
Or more.
So Ty, what do you think Mikel sees in Madueke?
Well, he obviously sees something.
Yeah, what is it though?
I don't know. You'll have to ask him. But I always say, no, it's true. No, and
we'll get him in then.
I'm not dissing. It's soon to be Noni. I'm not dissing him. But what I would say is that we can say whatever we want. We can act like Texas. Laurie's not acting like the Pointer Sisters, so you're not excited. But he knows, isn't it? It's up to him and Andrea.
But what do you think he thinks?
I think that he thinks that he can make a difference, and I'm cool with that. If that's what Mikel thinks, I'm more than happy. If that's what
one thing, I think Arteta gets heavily criticised a lot about some of the targets like Havertz, etc. And, Havertz's shortcomings and him not being an out-and-out striker, etc. One thing you have to credit Arteta on is he improves players. He works on their application and improves them. You might question the quality of the players he acquires, but the fact of the matter is that Arteta has improved players. So I think if we buy Madueke, there's no question that Arteta is going to improve him. Now, whether he's going to score a lot of goals and going to show a lot more than he's showing at Chelsea, I don't know. But I think you can rest assured that Arteta is going to work on his application, his decision-making, his discipline. It's going to make him a better player. And he's still only 23. So I can understand the negative. It's not fashionable. Noni Madueke, you mentioned, it's not fashionable to look at him and think, oh, he's the player who's going to come in and take us to the Holy Grail. But, football, sometimes you have to be a visionary. You have to have a vision and acquire the resources to fit that vision. And fair enough, Eze might be a better player, but Eze is 27, Madueke is 23. So there's a 4-year gap. And if the transfer fee quoted for Eze is to be believed, he's a bit more expensive than Madueke. So I think, again, going back to the point I was making earlier, when you're making transfers, you chase multiple targets, and it's all about low-hanging fruit. So it's about targeting players that you can close out. The players you need, you've got a budget for, you can close out the deal, you pursue, independent of your other targets. Things are not undertaken in sequential order. I say, I've got 4 players. This is what I need the most. I'm going to put all my eggs in one basket and try and negotiate a fee for this player, and I'm going to this player. And no, you approach all targets based on your budget, and you try and negotiate in a multiple manner, so you don't end up at the end of the window where you've put all your eggs in one basket and then you can't close out a deal. So let's see
what he wants to do. I'm more than happy, because if that's the case, then I want him to go, which I don't. So if I back him, I might not agree with everything he does, but if he's happy to sign Noni, then I'm happy.
I think what he sees in him is
we don't know, do we?
A winger that can play both left and right.
Yeah, but you don't know that, Loretta.
Can I answer the question?
Yeah, sorry,
because I didn't interrupt you when you were waffling.
Listen,
now I'm answering the question directly.
Don't start. Okay, don't start.
No, you started when you interrupted him, to be fair.
Anyway, I think that's the end of the stream. Yeah, quite interesting target. Like I said, I wouldn't have any problems with Noni Madueke. I think he's a player with great potential. Clearly, Arteta's seen something in him. We do need a big squad. We need a big squad. We need competent. That means capable backups in every position. So if he's coming in as a backup for Saka, I'm all for it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Peace.